This is Jarrod Horak. Welcome to my latest Road to the 2023 Kentucky Derby video. And in this video, I cover this video every year. I'm going to do my top 5 most likely Kentucky Derby winners. If you're interested in my Triple Crown Series full cards this year, you will find those full cards at therunawayhorse.com on my sales page this spring. My Kentucky Derby Day full card will be complete after post positions are drawn on Derby week. And you can purchase those full cards, like I said, at therunawayhorse.com on my sales page. You can also get my full cards at todaysracingdigest.com and horseracingnation.com. And for my Kentucky Derby full cards, I have a pre-sale going on right now. So you can go over and see the products that I am offering this year and purchase those if you're interested. And I'll get that analysis out of Derby week as quick as I can. And now we're going to jump in and talk about the top 5 most likely Derby winners. But before I do that, if you're interested in my Kentucky Derby reports and my Kentucky Oaks reports, todaysracingdigest.com just updated their website. So if you go over and you click on the News and Insider Information tab and then click Kentucky Derby, it'll take you over to their Kentucky Derby page. And I have all of my Oaks and Derby reports posted there. If you're interested in bonus-free selections, at horseracingnation.com, I have a daily best bets blog that I have done for many years, and you can find that in the handicapping section on their front page. And now we're going to do the 5 most likely Derby winners. And when I get to the 5th one, I was torn between 2 horses, Derma Sotogake and 2 Fills, and I ended up giving the slight nod to Derma Sotogake. I think he's a dangerous contender this year. He's got plenty of experience. He's run a lot of races. He's run 8 times already. He's won 4 of his last 5 starts. And he's run twice this year. He was 3rd in the Saudi Derby. And then he looked very good visually in the UAE Derby at Meydan on the Dubai World Cup undercard on March 25th. And in that race, he was able to get out there and get up on the pace. And the horses that were forwardly placed did well that day. But visually, he looked strong. He kept on going in that mile and 3/16 race. I don't think a mile and a quarter of the Kentucky Derby is going to give him any trouble. I think horses that have early pressing versatility could be dangerous in the Kentucky Derby this year. And Derma Sotogake, even though the UAE Derby has not been a productive race for the Kentucky Derby, I just think this year maybe he's the kind of horse that could be dangerous in a wide open type year where we don't have any horses with speed figures standouts. So Derma Sotogake, an early pressing type from Japan, one of the most likely Kentucky Derby winners this year. The next one is Practical Move, and I thought about leaving him off this list, but his early pressing speed should lead to a good trip, but the problem is he's just had perfect trips in all of his races around 2 turns, beginning with the Los Alamitos Futurity. He was able to save all the ground, tracking the pace. He slipped right up the inside, and he won that one nicely. His first start this year in the San Felipe, the same thing at net mile in a 16th race, just like that Los Al Futurity at that same distance. And this one was on March 4th at Santa Anita Park. And in the Grade 2 San Felipe, he was able to just sit a dream trip, tracking the pace, went right up the inside, pulled away nicely, a nice looking win there. The Grade 1 Santa Anita Derby at a mile and an eighth on April 8th. Now in that race, same thing. Just like the Los Al Futurity, just like the San Felipe Stakes. He was able to save ground, tracking the pace, but this time he didn't pull away in the stretch like he did in his 2 starts at a mile and a 16th. He was challenged by Mandarin Hero, a Japanese import, and then Skinner trying to close ground into moderate fractions. But it was a game victory for Practical Move, but he wasn't as impressive in this mile and an eighth race. And now he's got to go a mile and a quarter. And in a 20-horse field, there's no guarantee that he's going to sit that kind of trip. But if he can work out a good early pressing trip under Ramon Vazquez, he could be dangerous in the Derby. I question the mile and a quarter distance, and I question his multiple perfect trips. I don't know that he can get another one. But if the pace is moderate and he does work out a good trip and the closers get mired in traffic behind slower fractions, he could get the first run. So that's why he's one of the more likely Derby winners, although I am skeptical of his chances at a mile and a quarter. The next one is Angel of Empire. This one is a son of Classic Empire for trainer Brad Cox, and Brad Cox has won the Kentucky Derby before, and so has Flavien Prat. And Flavien Prat has a good record in the Derby. He hasn't ridden in many Derbies, but typically when he does ride, his horses are in the mix for top 3 finishes. And Angel of Empire has to be considered because of his back-to-back good-looking wins at a mile and an eighth. in the Risen Star and the Arkansas Derby. Now, right after the Smarty Jones Stakes, Brad Cox, after that 1 mile race in which he finished second, he just said he'll get better when he has more distance to cover. And he did just that in the Risen Star, looked good from off the pace there. And then the Arkansas Derby, he stayed out in the clear. He was sitting in mid-pack. He just rumbled past them all and won easily and professionally. And he's one that he can get the distance. I don't think the 1 1/4 is going to give him any trouble. He's going to need a bit of pace help, and a rider like Flavien Prat is probably going to put him in a good spot and give him every chance to succeed. And we're going to find out how good Angel of Empire is in this race. Now, Tapit Trice for trainer Todd Pletcher is one of the most likely Kentucky Derby winners, and Luis Saez will be his rider. Tapit is the sire here. He has one of the best 1 1/4, if not the best 1 1/4 pedigrees in this field. I actually like his pedigree better for the Belmont Stakes, but he certainly knows how to win races. He's won his last 4 starts. He did have some trouble and gate issues in some of his starts, like the Tampa Bay Derby, but the field was overmatched, and he was just so much better than those horses that he was able to overcome a less than professional effort and a less than complete race. His stretch run was dynamic, but the rest of his races earlier on, he didn't have the best trip, and caused by his own doing there. But once he put it together in the stretch, he rumbled past those like he should have, as it looked on paper. And then the Bluegrass Stakes from the inside post, much better start. He was back in 7th early. Luis Saez was able to steer him out, and he made a nice move to get in contention early on the backstretch. And he was sitting a good tactical trip, and he was able to outfinish Verifying, and the top 2 were well clear of the rest. And Tapit Trice, not going to have any trouble with the 1 1/4 distance, but he is going to need a good start in a 20-horse field. He doesn't want to leave himself with too much work to do, especially in a year where the pace might be on the moderate side after last year's pace collapse. And the most likely Kentucky Derby winner is going to be Forte. There's no doubt about that. This horse is 6 for 7 lifetime. He's won 4 Grade 1 races. He won the Grade 1 Hopeful last year, and then he won the Grade 1 Breeders' Futurity and the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He was your 2-year-old champion. He came back with a strong win in the Grade 2 Fountain of Youth Stakes, and then the 1 1/8 Florida Derby last time. He didn't run his best race, but he was able to get up and get the job done from an outer post, racing wide from off the pace. He can stalk the pace as well, so he can stalk or close. He's got those 4 big Grade 1 wins. He's won his last 5 starts. So he is a horse that has a lot of ability, a lot of class, and Irad Ortiz Jr. is going to hope that he can sit some kind of mid-pack type trip, not to get too far back, and then try to run him down in the stretch. So Forte, one of the top 5 Kentucky Derby winners. And then the others, as I mentioned, Tapit Trice, we have Derma Sotogake, Practical Move, and Angel of Empire. So they are my top 5 most likely Kentucky Derby winners this year, and the horse that just missed the cut to Phil's. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you like this horse racing content. Again, check out the runawayhorse.com on my sales page if you're interested in my Kentucky Derby full card, my Triple Crown Series products. You can purchase the entire Triple Crown Series package for a discounted price, Kentucky Oaks Day stakes races, and much more. So go over to the runawayhorse.com on my sales page if you're interested in any of that. And that will wrap up this video. Again, keep checking out my YouTube channel. I'm going to keep posting these Kentucky Derby related videos each day as we head up to the Kentucky Derby. And until I see you next time, good luck at the races.